something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Well, g'day, folks. How are ya? Hope you're doing all right. I'm a bit rugged up in me hoodie. Have yours turned up? I think they will have. There is the nice way the red one looks. I bloody wrapped in the way the red one looks. So I've had it on all day. And I've got to say, absolutely spectacularly warm. It has been one of those days around here where it's been a bit of rain, bit of cold. Well, bloody cold, full stop. And the hoodie hasn't been off since I got out of bed at 5:30 this morning. Delightfully warm, though. And you can get yours at vofhq.com. Vince will love me for getting that plug in right away. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing all right. Go back up the top, see who was first in tonight. Chaos was first in tonight. Nice to have you along, mate. Sunflower too. God love you. And yes, hoodies have abounded. Yours has turned up, Sunflower. I'm so glad you like it. I do have a ladies' one floating around here somewhere. It's for Cass. I really like it. It's the zip-fronted one, and it's I don't know how you would say it. It's sort of sculpted to the lady's shape. Does that make sense? It's got like a fitted waist or not, depending on whether I guess you need it fitted. But yeah, anyway, really nice looking hoodie with a zip front. So Cass isn't here at the moment. She's away on business, but I'll give that to her in the next few days when she gets back. And I'm so glad that you like yours, Sunflower. Lovely stuff. We're having a few troubles on the Rumble channel tonight. So unfortunately, by the look of it, the Rumble channel has dumped us for some reason tonight. I only noticed that just as I was trying to go to air. But if I go and have a bit of a look, it says that this stream is there. However, if I go into it, I don't think it's going to allow for me to play it. Just pardon me while I try and see if this is working live, and I'll drop a comment into the Rumble chat. Vince, I might get you to pop into the Rumble chat and do that too, mate. Come over to Nun2K if there you go. I will leave it at that. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid, at this late notice. There you go. That's working okay on Project Matilda, though. And g'day to Daniel and the team there. I think the team at Project Matilda is pretty much Daniel. But he's doing a brilliant job. And if you haven't already gone over and joined Project Matilda, then please do. projectmatilda.com. Really cool little website that is very similar, if you like, to Facebook, except it's Australian designed, 100% Australian, owned by a young man in Perth who has put literally everything he owns into this. He has ploughed in, well, I probably wouldn't be too out of school to say hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's worked for to generate in his normal job, which is not computing. And he's created quite a brilliant environment for everybody, but a great place for Aussies to come together at projectmatilda.com. So whiz over and have a bit of a look there. That'd be nice. Tony, nice to see you in tonight, mate. Life of the universe and going well for you. I hope things are tickety-boo for you too, Rach. You joined a new group after being accidentally led over a 24-hour period and have a collective. Collective meditation, meditation at 6:30. Oh, well, there you go. We've been usurped. Well, that's the way. Can't be expected to have you here all the time. I know. You're stuck in a little cave called Canberra, Daniel. Mate. Well, I'm looking forward to calling Park. And actually, I'm deeply sorry it didn't happen last time. The world just got away from me at the time, and there were quite a few extenuating circumstances. But I'm not making excuses. You were the first person on the list to go and see. In fact, you're about the only person I know left in Canberra now, Daniel. So, and having said that, we don't really know each other, do we? Let's change that. So it's all good. We'll be coming down the not too distant future. Paul checking in per the YouTube notification on the main channel. There you go. Well done, Paul. Okay, so we are getting notifications. My haircut. Not really a haircut. It's sort of what happens when you stick it in the hoodie for the day, on and off. But I'm pretty impressed with the haircut, actually, and it didn't cost $88. It was a very reasonable $30 at a barber who didn't want to put a part anywhere. I was pretty impressed with. Michelle Bradley Smith, how are you, darling? Thank you for all the work that you do on our channel too. One of our very trusted moderators. Vince is in there too, at least for a little while tonight. He's got a My Place meeting to get along to, I think. G'day, Phil. Hope things are well in your part of the world. Hookster. Jack, I hope things are all right up north. You had no internet or phone service from 11:20ish up until about 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Nice way to lead into why the CBDCs are going to suck. Well, we might talk a bit about that tonight. I can't claim nothing I say will be financial advice tonight, folks. Be aware of that. I don't give financial advice. If you're getting financial advice from me, it would come with a clown warning. So please do your own investigations. You're going to get my opinions only. And when it comes to finance, you'll find they're pretty limited. But we will get in and have a little bit of a look at what's been going on in the markets, which really started last week. 2 weeks ago, I suppose, if we're honest, with the first reportings coming through in the US reporting cycle. And a couple of big companies then reported slumps in earnings and projections. And then, of course, last week, Apple, Google, and the other 5 big ones came out and said that their reporting or their earnings were down on what they'd projected, and their projections were being lowered. This, of course, has taken a quite significant hit into the markets, particularly with the employment cycle. I think the employment is running at about 4.1% at the moment in the US. Which is not dissimilar, I don't think, to what it is here. The real unemployment level is, I actually think, much higher. But they have ways and means of adjusting figures so that it looks a little bit more palpable. Paul Orchard, it's got boobs. Are we still talking about my hoodie? Oh, you mean the girls' ones have got room for boobs? Of course, that's what. There you go. See, been a while since I've seen. Oh, let's not talk. Oh, of course, it's for boobs. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Thanks, Paul. Thanks. Wow. Probably could have done that by email. I could have got embarrassed off camera. That'd be much better. Wow. Well, you guys, to show what's on my mind, doesn't it? Really? Nothing. Dead nothing. Hello, Donna. I'm going to keep moving on, saying hello to a few people. Sovereign Joe's in the house. Nice to have you along, Peter. I haven't forgotten. I owe you mail, my friend. I just haven't picked up one of those things yet. But I will pick that up in the very near future. And I will get your mail off to you. Okay. Oh, what, Michelle? Your niece's father-in-law had another jab last week. Sore arm, wasn't sick, dropped dead today. Wow, and it is happening in so many places, and it's just being glossed over. Jinder Lee, legend! Thank you for the email, dude. Appreciate that. And you've caught me like when I've been crook and down and fading badly. In fact, it's the first time I've thought about it since your email. I hope you are well. So 2 people in Canberra that I know. I beg your pardon. Although Jinder Lee, we too need to catch up again. Rather than on the lawns of that place, we need to go and find a different place that may have beer that gets served occasionally, and catch up there. And Daniel, we'll catch up with you too in whichever way is possible. So whether that's you come to us or we come to you, one of the 2 will happen. Thank you very much, Aussie Sue. God love you. I hope your neck of the woods is doing all right up north. It's been bloody wet, full stop, in far north Queensland. It's one of the reasons why I've stayed a little bit further south. I simply just don't know how waterproof the old girl is. So rather than putting it to the what would be the gauntlet, I would have thought, in far north Queensland with torrential rains that have been happening, I've been hanging out a little further south. But the plan is to certainly come north before the end of this year and before it gets too much hotter, where there is something happening in the background which I can't really talk about at the moment. As soon as that gets sorted out, I will be hitting the road, as they say, Jack, and heading north and heading south. The plan being back in Victoria for the big event that is being put on by my place in Victoria on the 29th, 30th, 1st and 2nd of December. So 29th, 30th of November, 1st and 2nd of December. And it was the little thing I put up here earlier. The My Place Victoria campout from Friday the 29th through to Sunday, December 1st. It is a beautiful holiday park that has been selected. It's about 30 minutes or so from Echuca. And you can go through all the accommodation options and whatnot, through the My Place members booking discount page. Now, if you find all that too hard and you haven't figured it out yet, tomorrow night I'm going to have 2 of the main instigators behind this. Well, I'm going to call it a magnificent event. I'm going to have 2 of the girls on to talk more about it. And if you are a My Place member, My Place Unity member, then you will be able to access the website for all the details, where, when, and how. I've already booked in. So if you are planning on doing the drive with me down from Queensland, I would urge you to book sooner rather than later, because this event will sell the park out. I believe it's capable of taking some hundreds of people, but it'll tap out at sort of 500 or 600. So be aware that if you want to come to this event, you'll need to follow the rules about how to get in, and that will be through the My Place links, or be watching tomorrow night's show when Doris and Becky O from Truth Seeker TV, but also from My Place Victoria, will be giving us the lowdown on what's going to be happening, who's going to be turning up, and, well, what sort of fun things we can expect to have happen across the course of what will be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There may be a few people hanging out till Monday. There might be a few people turning up early. I've given myself a day so I can get there a bit earlier if I need. So it's going to be a bit of a trek down. If you want to come down, then let me know, carl@vofhq.com. I know not everybody likes to travel like I do, which is, fill up, let's go, and fill up again, and let's keep going. So dependent on which way we decide to go down, there are, of course, choices. One is probably a little bit further than the other, but from what I hear, the Newell is not a terribly flash bit of road to travel at the moment. It is undergoing a lot of repairs from flooding from previous events, and is genuinely or generally not all that great. So that may not suit you to go down the Newell because you're a little bit smaller and you've got to go into the potholes rather than sort of bounce over the top of them with your truck tires like I've got. I'm not particularly keen on roughing it down the roads either. The old girl, she does enough hard work, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that I would go down the Pacific Motorway and Highway 1, if you like, and then down the Hume, and then branch off at Albury and go along the Murray from there to Echuca and then out to the event from there. So we would do that in a couple of days, or if you wanted to make a week or so out of it, I guess we could probably do that too if you pick a place we'd like to stay and pull up, or a couple of places. Coffs Harbour might be a nice one. So too might be Port Macquarie. Got some wonderful My Place folks in Port Macquarie. Hello, Penny and the team there. And I'd love to call into Port Macquarie and catch up with you guys. So maybe we can do that if that's the way we come down. We can do a little convoy, pick people up on the way. But remember, you got to book. So watch tomorrow night to find out more details if you haven't already joined the Unity Hub, the My Place Unity Hub, and found out more about it. All right, let's get into a few little bits and pieces. You can tell my voice is still not working quite right. Pardon me. It's not. I'm still not terribly well yet. I'm better than I have been, but I fade pretty badly at the end of the day, and start very early for whatever reason. So you might find me doing breakfast shows in the near future rather than something this late in the afternoon. However, we'll play it as it goes. At the moment, the voice is sort of holding up, so we'll see how long it goes for. My, aren't things going well in this shithole of a city with that shithole of a bloke running things? His wife's looking good. He's, of course, married to that bloke who somehow resembles that thing. I'm just saying. It's a bit weird. However, this bloke seems to not be kissing this bloke as much as he's kissing his sports minister. And yes, she's female. We have confirmation of how weird things are in France because Karl Stefanovic has stepped out and said so. They're weird in a sexually weird kind of way, is how he put it. I can't wait to find out more, but he'll probably wait until he gets home. Being the French are sexually weird, they're not the only sexually weird things that are going on. And aside from the entire sporting movement that's organising that sham of an event in that city filled with shit running down its streets, and so many athletes getting sick from swimming in it, going to hospital no less. I got a new scam the other day. So here is a new scam for you to be aware of, folks. Hello, this is a marriage service. The system will help you match a suitable single girl. She is kind, gentle, decent, and generous. Please treat her politely and seriously and start a beautiful life. I will send you her contact information so that you can get to know each other. And that's the WhatsApp number should you decide you'd like to have a crack at that, because I certainly won't be. You know what happened last time I let an Asian near me? I mean, the assassin nearly killed me with the ribs. So, bit skittish, that's all I've got to say. Bit skittish. All right. Could it be this? Probably not. Could it be that? Wow. Maybe the Black Swan event is a combination of that and a few of the other things that have been happening today, like, I don't know, the crashing of the stock markets. Now, the plummet continued. The Australian Stock Exchange tonight at close is trying to, I suppose, it's trying to put a bit of a shine on what happened in the day's trading. It says that the SP, the ASX 200, closed up on Tuesday, gaining 31 points or 0.41%. That's not 1%, that's 0.41 of a percent. It rose up to 7,680.60, a new after setting a new 20-day low. Now, the top performing stocks in the index were Paladin Energy, Deep Yellow Limited, and Deep Yellow suffered some pretty big losses too. And when I say losses, the stock market has lost $1 trillion or more in value. The American stock market has lost considerably more. They're all trying to polish the turd, but the turd is quite seriously dull and looking rather shaky. Now, what else happened today? Well, the Australian Reserve Bank came out and said that it wasn't going to raise interest rates. Yip-yah, wahoo. That'll be great news if you own a mortgage or if you own a second mortgage or an investment property. That will give you something of a sigh of relief. And indications are that the next time they meet, they will be lowering the interest rate. Let's hope so. But why are they doing that? Well, they're trying to stop that inflation bubble growing. They believe they've managed to bring that under some level of control. However, the markets are having a hard time hiding all that debt, and there is a lot of it. What's that doing to the market and those in the market? Well, the AMP, Chief Economic Advisor, has offered up a number of interesting suggestions. He says that tighter fiscal policy, this is a guy called Shane Oliver, he says that tighter fiscal policy in the form of tax hikes or spending cuts could be the way to go. Or maybe a 1% levy on your super. That means everybody gets to share in this debt that has been created by bastards just like him. So, if you are still in big super and you still think that life, the universe, and everything is going to go very well for you with that, because government would never touch a big super. Wow. Here we go. AMP are already lining up to suggest it to the government. And yes, while it would be something hard, they'd have to sell this government in particular, the incumbent bunch of morons and criminals who've just had a new batch sworn in. Well, they're capable of anything. And I think they've shown that. So, if the market is going down, we've always said keep looking at precious metals. And of course, AinsleyBullion.com.au, the place to go and check it out. I'm looking there right now. Now, the gold price today, $3,711.56 at the close. Now, that could be trading internationally at that price for another hour or two yet. Interestingly, that's gone up. Gold has gone up, but silver has gone down. Why is that? Isn't that a bit strange? Isn't that a bit contra to what normal practice you would think would be in this kind of a market? Watch this space. And if you haven't got silver, tonight might just be the night to go to AinsleyBullion.com.au and fill in an order. Don't forget, you'll get a discount if you mention Voice of Freedom and my name. You have to do that in the notes section of the order. All right? There is a notes section. Just put my name or put Voice of Freedom, and you will get a discount applied to whatever you buy, whether that be a 15 of the 1/10 coins. They're now available. You can get those. Well, let me just see exactly what you can get those for. I'll have a quick look. So a tube of 15 at the moment is available and will cost you $108, let's say, plus postage. So $107.93 for a tube of 15 of those. Or maybe you would prefer to go into the coins or the bars or the ingots or maybe some of the collector stuff that they've got. Their 50th anniversary Ainsley coin is pretty stunning. So you can go and check them out at Ainsley. Very weird things happen with this machines at times. May have to buy myself a new mouse, I think. Yes, so ainsleyBullion.com.au. Go and check them out. And if I were you, I'd buy silver tonight at just over $41 an ounce. And when I was looking earlier today, it's 49 now. When I was looking earlier today, it was just over 42, I think. Buy it while it's going down, folks. That is the wise thing to be doing, because trust me, it is going to go up. That's not financial advice. That's just the feeling of warmness in me cockles, you know. So keep an eye on the price. I'm sure it will be of great interest to many of us who have been looking at this now for some time and preparing for what could well be a huge financial upheaval. Neville, you picked up some 1/10s. Beautiful. They are very pretty and sharp, aren't they? That's the thing. People don't really understand. And Vince and I were only talking about this the other day because he's got his now. Just how sharp these little 1/10 of a silver ounce coin or rounds are. It's because of the stamping process. They come out pretty keen, but those edges will dull over time. Put a few of them in your pocket, let them roll around. They'll take the edges off. However, it's much nicer to keep them in the tube, and they do feel almost like Monopoly money. They are so thin. The weight of them is just not what you'd expect for something that size. And a 5-cent piece, actually, I think probably weighs more. But they really are really very sexy, very cute, and very usable in a variety of locations around Australia that are growing. And we will be working together with a couple of different places to put together, if you like, a bit of a directory of where you can trade in silver using, say, your Ainsley rounds, or maybe you want to buy something a bit more substantial and you want to deal a kilo or two. Well, there are ways and means that can be, well, we can help you with that, direct you in the right direction of the businesses that are very happy to trade. So, yeah, keep an eye out for news on that front in the not too distant future coming your way. All right, now let's get into a few other little pictures. All right, I told you about the scam. That was always good. Right, so we've spoken about what's going on in the markets. It's never a good sign when Biden's top economic advisor has quit the White House too. The other thing is, as near as I can tell, Kamala Harris has not said a word about what's going on with the markets at all. Now, that's not such a bad thing because she's not the president. She's only running for president. So she happens to be the vice president. But the big question is, where is the president or the resident in chief? Now, Biden hasn't been seen in public since he left after his COVID diagnosis and disappeared up his own fundamental orifice of recovery. We've heard that he is sitting on a beach somewhere in a beach house that he has, I want to say in Delaware, but that could be wrong. He's been sitting there with Jill staring out into the ocean. One can only ponder if he's waiting for the wave to come and take him away, or a big black helicopter to come in over the horizon, be that artificial or flat or round or curved or whichever other way, and pick him up, take him for a short trip a little further south and a little further east, and he might have a nice office space in Guantanamo. The nice thing about it is every day he'll wake up there like it's his first day, and well, that may not be terribly nice for him, but it does look like Biden has been railroaded. It does look like the American people who voted for Biden have been cheated out of having him finish his term, much less stand for a second one. The big concern is who is actually running the country, though, at the moment. Who is running the country? Because that leads me into another area of some concern, and that would be Israel and the Iron Dome of protection that it enjoys. Now, if you're not familiar with how the Iron Dome works, it is a series of ground-to-air defense or air-to-ground defense systems that track and shoot down incoming, usually unguided rockets coming from Hezbollah on the other side of Gaza, and occasionally, as we saw a few months ago, a supposed attack from Iran that had over 100 or 150 drones involved. Now, Iran knows how strong the Iron Dome is, and knows that while not impenetrable, it's very difficult to get through with any accuracy and to do anything but, civilian damages. You'll never get through over a military site, because they have everything from this Iron Dome technology through to Patriot missiles, which will track and bring down missiles from the opposition a long way out. However, they are very, very expensive, and they are not in plentiful supply. In fact, that's the biggest problem Israel and America has right now. They have been merrily shooting their iron into the dome, protecting Israel from attack from Hezbollah and Hamas and potentially Iran. But all those attacks have been using their ammunition reserves to a point where they are now critically low, and America cannot supply any more. America's own ground-to-air or defense weapons are in very short supply because, of course, Biden and co have been funding Freddie Fuckknuckle in the Ukraine, who's been doing great things with all the money. In fact, recently he just bought himself a $75 million Tuscan winery, I believe, and thinks he'll get away with it. And he might for a couple of years, but I have no doubt the people will come and take it back. You can see evidence of things like that now happening in the UK, the riots on the streets. Now, what is frightening, disturbing for most POMs who are viewing this from their lounge rooms and not getting involved in the riots on the streets, what they are watching, though, is an apathetic police force who is standing back and letting the immigrants carry on like pork chops and do damage, create havoc, terror on the streets, and are only intervening when local young Englishmen are standing up for their area, their street, their town, and pushing back. That's the only time the police in the UK are being involved. And that, to be honest, is about the only time the police in Australia are interested in getting involved. They do have some interesting tactics, and from what I understand, Victorian police haven't changed very much. I apologise for the audio in this next video, but just watch what unfolds when a group of people, sovereign citizens, get together for a weekend on a Victorian farm for a discussion about sovereignty and some of the bastard acts that maybe have been perpetrated by governments in their own name. Sons of God, Special Operations Group. Well, this is actually the anti-terror group that are raiding the property. You'll be thankful, I suppose, they're not kicking indoors, but they've got their fully automatic weapons. Very excited, and now they've discovered all the cameras. Oh, no, we don't want you watching what we're doing. Oh, no, here's another one. No need for you to watch what we're doing here. Don't worry about that. No, I'll just hit this one with a golf club. Oh, I don't have to. I can just reach up for that one. There you go. Pull all that down. There's another one there. You don't need to see what we're doing here. I'm not going to look up. I'm just going to unplug it. Well, there you go. Victorian police. That was a farm raid a couple of days ago. Now, absolutely disgusting that they feel they can get away with destroying people's property like that, turning off the cameras, which are clearly there for the occupant's own protection. It would be interesting, and if I were the occupants and owners of that property, I would be demanding all the body camera footage from every one of those police officers that turned off one of your cameras. And I would be demanding that through Freedom of Information immediately and getting your lawyer onto it immediately. Why? Because there are arseholes in our government, arseholes masquerading as people who are working for us, the people, when in fact they're doing no such thing, who are going to use raids like this as an opportunity to speak total bullshit to you.
Well, Laura, there's no doubt for when you speak to friends and family in Victoria, for example, there is a long tail and a huge mental impact on young people, in particular young girls. The talk of massive increases in relation to mental health needs, etc., and many families tie that back to the very significant heavy hand of Daniel Andrews with the lockdowns in Victoria. None of that, though, should give rise to the sort of conduct that you're referring to. And I would say to anybody in our community, whether it's within your friendship group, your family group, the work group, whatever it might be, where you see somebody's behaviour changing, regardless of their motivation or if they've changed radically their thoughts about society and government, etc., you need to report that information to ASIO or to the Australian Federal Police.
Now, you'd like to think that he's referring to the kind of terrorists that we think about, that probably wrap their head in a tea towel of some sort, shout Allah Akbar before blowing themselves up. But he's not. He's referring to you and I, obliquely, but he's referring to people like you and I, because we disagree with the government. And we can lawfully prove the existence of the Australian Government Corporation. What we can't do is put it in front of any upright, law-abiding member of the judiciary to act on it, because they refuse to. There can be only one reason that they refuse to act on these submissions that have been put aplenty to the High Court. And what do you think that reason might be? Of course. Now, America is being driven to the edge. The division with Black Lives Matter, which is about to come back into play again, mark my words. The lies that are being told about the impending election, and particularly the lies being told about the current Vice President, Kamala Harris, who she may or may not have as a running mate in the near future. I threw Oprah Winfrey out there the other day, just about as good as any, but over the weekend I had the opportunity to really think about it. And I don't think that Oprah would run as a if she could run as an aim in her own right. The only time I would see her running as VP would be if Big Mike was running for president. And a Big Mike and Oprah ticket, well, that might be pretty hard to knock back. However, knock it back, we must, because our world is being changed, not just in America, not just in the UK, but it's being changed here in Australia as well. Small immigrant groups that are growing are now demanding permanency because they've managed to get here under whatever way, shape or form they've managed to get here. Most immigrants, illegals, are overstayers of visas. They fly into the country and just never go home. Well, now they're demanding permanent.
We want permanent visas! Now, now, now! 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 We want permanent visas! Now, now, now!
Could it be any more staged, I ask you? And that doesn't seem to be a terribly broad immigrant group, if you know what I mean. It looks to me like there's a bunch of others in training there and precious little else. But they're going to stand on the street, they're going to disrupt your day, and they're going to make you believe that their movement is 10,000 times larger than it actually is. And then some green numpty from inner city, bullshit city somewhere will come out and support them and tell them they're doing a great job and pat them on the head. And who knows, may be able to swing a little bit more support behind them. It won't be long before we have to issue a warning like Nigel Farage.
You've seen on the streets of Hartlepool, of London, of Southport is nothing to what can happen over the course of the next few weeks.
That's his warning. What you are seeing in the UK will be nothing compared to what you're going to see in the next few weeks. Well, it hasn't got that far here in Australia yet. I do believe it will ignite in Europe. I think it will ignite right across Europe. I also think America will be fighting a rearguard action from the invasion of the inside that has been allowed to happen under Joe Biden's watch. There has been some research done into what they're calling the real world figures of illegal crossings. And rather than that number being somewhere between sort of 6 and 8 million, that number is now being touted at 17 million. Take from that what you will, 17 being a rather interesting number to be thrown out just at this sort of time. So let's go back to Nasara Jassara and let's wonder what's going to happen there. So all the signs are showing for a financial market crash, a financial reset. Now, we've been warning of central bank digital currencies for some time, and a one world government currency run by the central banks would be the one to be avoided at all costs. Australia has probably signed up for God knows what when it comes to cabal managed financial currency systems. However, if we are to believe that all things are in hand, the White Hats have it all in control. There is a new system that now must have been running in parallel with the current global financial system for at least 2 years, probably coming up at Christmas time, coming up to 3 years. It's been running in parallel with our current known, if you like, fiat system. Are we looking at this black swan event, the huge stock market crashes? We haven't seen gold and silver go through the roof yet, although gold is on the up. Silver does appear to be doing what it does just before it takes a jump. But you can always follow the advice from ainslieybullion.com.au and go on to their website and have a look at what Paul and the team are saying in their analysis of the market at the moment. Okay? It will give you a much better understanding of what the metals markets are doing at the moment and give you a much better opportunity to get in to maximize any profits you might be trying to make if it's a matter of making a few bucks off the silver and gold that you have. Many people are just buying it for the investment purposes, and that's all well and good too, but some others speculate, and right now mightn't be a bad time to be doing a little bit of that if you can spare an ounce or two to go and speculate with. I would, if and I could. All right, what else have I got to show you here? My screen and mouse is playing up here terribly tonight. It's actually been kicking me out of the show, which is not helpful. All right, there are some warriors amongst us, and I really hope that if you know these people, you will pass on my very best to them. If you don't know these people, will you please take a leaf out of their book, quite literally, and go to Big W and do this.
See these books?
Yeah.
You guys need to take them off the shelf.
Why?
Because have you read these?
No.
This here teaches kids how to have anal sex.
No, you're kidding.
From the ages of 7.
No, you're kidding.
No. People need and tells how kids from the age of 12 how to consent to sex.
You're kidding.
No, read them. You need to read them. Target took them down.
Did they?
Target took them down.
I was telling.
But these here teach kids how to have anal sex from the age of 7.
You're kidding.
You need to take them down. Yep.
Bloody and devil is right.
And how to consent to sex from the age of 12. That is disgusting. You just need to.
Yeah. Tell him to have a read and
Yep.
see if he thinks
Target took them down. Right, a lot of other stores took them down. You guys have got tons of them up in the books aisle up there. You need to take them down because that's
Keep the Bible so that there is knowledge.
Yep.
Read it at night.
Yep.
Read it at night.
You need to take that stuff down. That's disgusting.
How do I know if I'm ready?
So I know there was a big push to have, I'm not sure if it was that book. I think there was a different one. Well, maybe it was that book. But I want to say that piece of work Yumi Stein's had something to do with writing. There was a push some months ago to have that removed. I don't know that it was ever successful. I have very little cause ever to go into a Big W, but should I find myself in a shopping centre that has one in the near future, I will be going straight to the books and seeing whether or not that piece of filth is still on the shelf. And if you do have a Big W near you, please go and do the same. Send me the video of yourself doing it. And God love you for standing up for our kids, because that is what's required. We're doing this for the kids, folks. These bastards are trying to kill all of us in their own creative ways, but they especially want to do work on our kids. And it's been talked about in media, mainstream media, for many, many years. Now, this dates back to 1991, this article, where it talks about satanic cults involved in cannibalism, mass murder, pack rape, and child abuse may be operating in at least, not up to, but at least 14 New South Wales towns. Now, it followed an investigation from Channel 10 News back when, well, people used to do actual investigations, it appears. But the towns named were Tamworth, Dubbo, Penrith, Wollongong, Newcastle, Taree, Lismore, Murwillumbah, Bega, Wagga, Goulburn, Port Macquarie, Glen Innes, and Nowra, and involved high-level figures in law, medicine, the media, police, and academia. Now, this report comes from October 1991. I have heard of these reports since the early 2000s. I've been aware of these sorts of reports, and particularly of a series of towns, many of whom are mentioned right there, and their involvement in satanic abuse. There is also towns in Queensland that are named, particularly along the southern edges of it and further north. In one of those towns, there used to be, I don't know if there still is, but there used to be a quite open satanic festival every year that people travelled to from all over the place. I don't know if they're quite as open as that these days, but who knows? They're probably even more so, and are welcomed by the local council, who are, just the local cabal representatives, really. I'm jumping around a little bit tonight because I didn't put things in an order that I was happy with before I started the show. So I've been talking around things, and something I should have brought up earlier when I was speaking about what's happening in the UK. Well, those riots in the UK are certainly serious. They are, you need to remember, put things into perspective a little bit. The UK has a population of over 70 million people, and actually I think it's a lot more than that, 135 million people, I want to say. And these riots are not happening on the streets everywhere. So the media, at least as far as mainstream is going to ramp up and hype up the danger level to what's actually going on. Having said that, there is certainly elements of danger on those streets, and there are very active immigrants and very active Englishmen who will clash and will do so violently. One of the greatest warning signs I would give to the immigrants who feel that they can go into parts of the UK, Scotland and Ireland, one of the biggest warning signs that you may have missed that happened over the last few days is that there have been massive protests in Belfast uniting Catholics and Protestants. Understand what that truly means, folks. If you are unaware of the war that has been waged in Northern Ireland for years, both openly and quietly, sometimes politically, sometimes very, very militarily, to have the two combatants of one of the oldest religious wars in Western civilization, at any rate, come together and unify over this appalling immigration issue should be a very, very, very dire warning to those who are wishing to perpetrate atrocities against the British people, the Irish people, or indeed the Scottish or Welsh people. And let's fit that further afield to Australians, Canadians. We're all pretty tough nuts at the end of the day, and we will protect, if we are forced to, that which is ours. We want to do that lawfully. But we will not go quietly into the night, to paraphrase an old movie. We will stand up, because while there is news coming out of atrocities being committed against us like this, I, for one, will never give up. Now, we've heard stories about these forever chemicals now for some time. What this article goes on to say is it's not just found in Band-Aids and those sorts of products, it's found in sanitary products, tampons and napkins, pads. I don't know what they're called. Now, I don't know what that news does to a female who's trying to do the right thing by her body and her family. other than to think the bastards have been poisoning me for how long and I'm still alive. However, if there are alternatives, natural cotton, I don't know. I would be trying to avoid anything that's being made by big pharmaceutical and getting it put into your body in any way, shape, or form. They truly are trying to kill us in new and creative ways, and I find it beyond appalling that they can attack certain sections of the population, particularly children. I mean, our kids, how many Band-Aids did you go through as a kid? I mean, my parents could have had shares in the Band-Aid factory. They'd be very, very wealthy people, as I'm sure Johnson & Johnson's family is. However, it hasn't, touch wood so far, had an impact on me. But how would we know unless we have a way of actually checking it? We have a way of actually measuring what is wrong with us and knowing whether or not it could be derived from something as simple as, being the BMX bandit of the 80s, like so many of us were, and spent so much time on our knees on bitumen, scraping bark off, and putting on a couple of Band-Aids for days or weeks until you could form a scab that you could pick off without your mother getting too angry at you. So, I think there's many an opportunity. My mouse has died. That's why I'm having a few problems here, if you're wondering what I'm fiddling around with. Well, that's a real bugger. My mouse has died. Yes, Band-Aids, tampons, and the like. I'd be very careful of any gauzes and all that sort of stuff. We can't stop using this shit, but if you do have access to a microscope, I'd be really interested to see how deep we can get down into having a look at some of the things that might be inside our Band-Aids. And I'm going to contact Julian and Dr. David Nixon, or ex-Dr. David Nixon, to see whether or not that might be something they'd be interested in having a look at. I think Julian might be pretty interested in having a look at that too. So it's an area I'd be very keen to learn a lot more about, because I do feel we've had so many lies told to us about it. Speaking of so many lies, I got sent something the other day, which I have checked, and this is not an actual thing from that shithouse sporting event that's happening, but I did think it just a little bit funny. Every opportunity there is for something sick to come out, there seems to be a meme that plays in quite nicely with it. I don't know who's writing them, but they're prolific, I think, prolific. And I don't think that that's a bad thing, given the evidence that the French Organising Committee, the French government, and from all accounts now the French people, who just really don't care. True to form, the reports from tourists, people in town for the Olympics, are roundly pouring out that the French are arrogant, rude, condescending, and overall not very nice people. Well, this is what their games will be remembered for. Now, the International Boxing Federation, or the IBF or the IBA, might be both of them, turned up in Paris. You know that the Olympic Boxing Committee banned the boxing organizations from having anything to do with the Olympics. Why? Well, how much bribery can you get into one sport? That's probably being a bit harsh, actually. Is it? I don't know. So at least the Olympic Federation gets to make up whatever rules it likes, and clearly it likes to let women be beaten in public by men. So the IBA have turned up in Paris to make very, very official and very, very public statements and producing the proof, which is chromosomal tests of both of the gentlemen being referred to as women in the current boxing competitions there. I can only hope that some form and level of decency is extracted from whoever happens to be in charge at the IOC, and those two are not allowed to fight for a medal of any kind and are disqualified from the games, their results to be wiped. I know that doesn't do much for the women that they've beat, and I do mean beaten in the ring. However, will the IOC step down? I doubt it. Will they get any support from the French to step down? I 100% doubt it. In fact, I saw briefly, let me go and try and see if it's still up. That's right, the mouse doesn't work anymore. I saw today that front page here before on one of the shocking news sites, that was some Aussie bloke kissing another Aussie bloke at the Olympics. I don't know if it's his girlfriend who ran out onto the pitch after he fell on a sword or got stabbed in I don't know. Don't even know what sport. Don't care. I don't know why it needs to be celebrated. I haven't seen anybody's husband or wife run out and kiss them, heterosexual wise. We're not. But who knows? Maybe playing on the same team together. Isn't that what they always do? Chat very briefly. I hope life, the universe, and everything goes well for you, folks. I am feeling better for those of you who have thrown me many messages of support and advice on how to get better. I have grapefruit. I have lemons. I have pine needles. And in fact, a steeped pine needle tea is in my future, just between you, me, and the gatepost. Thank you, ads. You must be of a certain age if you can remember that interview with Jeff Fennick done by Magda Zabansky playing Pinky somebody or other, or Trixie Bell or something. And she asked Jeff Fennick how he enjoyed being punched in the ring. It was a very funny interview. Very funny interview. Somebody tried to tell me the other day that Paul Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan, had died. Has anybody else heard that? I mean, I did hear he wasn't well, but I haven't heard that he's died. I would have thought there is a level of Australian show business royalty there that we would have, had quite the funeral in Byron Bay for him, I would have thought. He spent a lot of time there in the hills. Beautiful house. He and the lovely Linda had out there, right beside my mate Blakey, who I don't know if Blakey's still around out there or not. Must have to try and find out. White pine needle tea, Neville. Well, shit, mate. I think my pine needles are green. I've never seen a white pine needle. Was it an old pine needle? When they go white and there's no green? Ads. Yeah. There's something. One day we'll have a chat about that particular Australian celebrity. Yeah, well, tell you what, if Susie Quattro has passed away, I will be mightily disappointed, because she's got an Australian tour coming out. She loves coming out, particularly over the Australian summer. So she'll be playing her way through the States at the moment and then working her way here, I think, in November. I saw the big plug for her. She's coming out. So always good to catch up with her too. I was lucky enough to meet her late 80s, and then again in the 90s, and then again in the noughties, in 3 different parts around the country. And she didn't remember me the second time, but the third time she remembered me. She's always saying she was very good with names. So, yeah. Hell of a rocker too. Hell of a rocker. Pete. Your son was 8 when he was traumatized by a drag bloke at a swap meet in a gruff voice. $50 bucks. Oh, God. Well, you know what they used to do to those drag blokes at swap meets, mate? That's why they were called drags. Just saying. I haven't seen Beyonce or Jay-Z in I don't know how long. And we're seeing the world's greatest Android clone popping up in Barcelona at the moment. Very shortly, she'll be popping up in Melbourne. I'm talking about Katy Perry. It'd be interesting to see what robotic jants she's going to pull out for the $5 million the AFL is planning on paying her to do the entertainment, which I'm sure she'll do a better job of than Meatloaf did all those years ago. And we all still remember with such fondness. The NRL, I believe, are trying to outdo the AFL in who they'll get to open their grand final and possibly put on the halftime entertainment. There is talk they are trying to get AC/DC for that. Interesting to see what happens. What the hell was that? So, folks, I haven't been terribly forthcoming with you about some of the joys of living in the bars. Sometimes, and I love animals. Sometimes the animals come in from the outside to join me on the inside. If I'm silly enough to leave the door open for an extended period of time, or as I've discovered, they can come up through the engine bay. Now, I may have had a small mice issue, but I think I've cleaned that up. And I was quite surprised that I managed to clean it up very quickly. But I've just seen something that makes me think maybe it wasn't me cleaning up the small mice problem. Maybe it's something that's about 1 meter long, and I think at a very little glance is a carpet python. I think. Because all I heard was a strange little movement over here to my left. You keep seeing me look down here to my left. It's because I think I've heard that movement from down in the footwell of the driver's side of the vehicle, where right now it is very dark and I can't see down into the footwell. But I did see something that looked like a tail. I might have to go and leave you tonight, folks, and see if I have a little friend coming in to join me. I am not... Stop playing with me, snake, Rachel. Thank you, dear. I don't play with my own snake. I'm not allowed to keep a snake. There are no snakes allowed to be kept. I do possibly still have a snake license, or like I can keep a snake. However, it is illegal to take a snake from the wild, and I would never do that. I would just put the snake back into the wild. I feel for it. It's a bit cold at the moment, and it's a bit early, I would have thought, for snakes to be moving around, although today was a not a particularly warm day either. I wouldn't have movement would be really what they'd be doing much of. But it was a very weird sound, and it looked like a very weird little tail. So I may have to go on a hunt and see what happens. I'd be surprised if it was a snake at this time. It's just a bit too cold. But they will be coming out. And if you are in the southeast corner of Queensland, you can expect any time from the end of this month onwards, the boys and the girls will start waking up, getting a little bit more active. There'll be a little bit more heat in the day. And they will be on the move looking for each other, because it's coming up to that time of the year where little boys of this kind and little girls of that kind like to get together and make other little boys and girls of their kind. And that doesn't just happen in the snake world. It happens in a lot of places. But it especially happens in the snake world. And you might find some snakes in some unusual places. In your roofs, for instance, you might hear some banging. Banging in the roof. That might be a couple of males combating over a female. Yeah, I'm talking about 3 snakes in your roof. And it does happen. So don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Life is good. I can put you in touch with the very best snake catchers in Australia, regardless of what state you're in, and they will come and get rid of the snake for you. There is a small charge involved, but if you've got an eastern brown snake that's in your fridge, it's probably destroying the fridge and the rest of the kitchen, trying to get it out and getting yourself bitten in the process, just between you, me, and the gatepost. And that's based on a true story. All right. A bit nervous about what's down there, so I'm going to shoot off. Have yourself a good night tonight, folks. I will be back again tomorrow night, as I've said. We will be chatting with Doris and the lovely Beckio from True Seeker TV. They're also from Vic West Organics. Doris might even bring us up to date with her latest skincare range. God knows I need it. Can you see all these white chunky bits falling off me? Need something soft for my skin. And Doris is just the girl to sort me out. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, folks. Be safe on the road. Watch out for those dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!